This is a message to yourself in 10 years. You may forget about this video by that point, you may be dead, you may have some sort of, you might have some sort of international crisis or whatever it may be. It's the way that you can't access this video. So, to give yourself a reminder, you've been away for 3 weeks. You've been travelling Europe, trying to figure some things out after 9 very long years of education. And you're currently walking along Omaha Beach to give your due to those who gave their lives for your freedom, and for you to have these thoughts, and for you to not be indoctrinated into any sort of policies or any sort of brainwashing of any sort of political ideology. From a young age, you've been free to think for yourself and think about what you want with your life and where it's going. You're here because after these 3 weeks and after a very long time thinking about relationships that have gone wrong and friendships that have disintegrated and family members that have gone, you're at a fork in the road, so to speak, of where to go. And you've confronted a lot of your failures, and you've had to deal with a lot of your shortcomings. Today is the 29th of October 2025. It is currently 3:30 in the afternoon. It's funny because this is the first anniversary, to be completely transparent, of the day where me and my ex-girlfriend broke up. It's a long distance relationship, but you still loved her and you loved her with all your heart. But you failed in that relationship, you came up short, you couldn't let go of past bearings and burdens and things that went wrong with you. I think this is a video to yourself to ensure that, yeah, I have made some mistakes and I have disappointed people, but I am trying to rectify it. I'm 26 years old now and I've only just finished education. I've endured 9 years of higher education and I've just attained a master's degree, a distinction. But part of me feels like it's not enough. It's only an accolade, it's not a personal accomplishment with people, which is the thing that I want to improve on most and achieve, is to be successful with people. And I find myself going from place to place and group to group, and it's just never worked out. There's always been failures. There's been some on their end, but there's also been some on my end. And you know, people say it's all part of growing up, and you know, people don't know who they're hanging out with and stuff like that. But you know, still can't help but feel responsible for, you know, a lot of the shortcomings that have confronted myself in my life. I disappointed my father on a couple of occasions. I won't go into detail of what they were, but there was a time in 2019 I was planning on taking my life. I'm glad I never did. 6 years ago now. I've moved past it. I like to think so. I think about it often. I also think about times when I was taken advantage of. You were bullied. You know, people were disrespecting you under the guise of it being a joke. Family or no family. You were looked down on because of neurological impairments that you had when you were a child, and it gave me a start in life that was upended compared to most people. So I've had to work twice as hard and for longer in comparison to most. I never really felt like I fit in anywhere because of these impairments. Having a hearing problem and a speech problem, which is rectified now, it left you feeling like you were not enough for people, even to the point until like you were 24, 23. It never went away. I think you've been looking in the wrong places for these people, and I think you've been a shitty person in relationships as well. You didn't really respect the women that you were with. They were, I wouldn't say assets, but they were seen as trophies sometimes, because again, I think it's because you were on survival mode because of the bullying that you endured as a child, so it kind of carried into your relationships to the point where you were trying to prove a point to people, and you weren't with them because you loved them. There were a couple of women that I was very deeply in love with, but they didn't work out because their shortcomings, but most of my shortcomings. I didn't know when to call it a day. I didn't gauge what the situations were. You know, I disrespected them. I didn't abuse them or anything like that. I just wasn't a good person, and I could have been a better person. And I think this last year, you've taken time out to yourself to think things over, to think where you're going with your life. Because you're 26 now, you'll see this when you're 36, and you want to decide what course you're going to take as a man. You need to be better. I think you need to master some level of compartmentalisation, acknowledge what's happened to you and acknowledge situations that will come ahead of you in the future. But you also got to know when to acknowledge it and think, yeah, okay, that's the situation, accept it, and then just put it away. I think one of my biggest failures is to let go of things. Maybe it's because I had some abandonment issues as when I was younger. I was kind of singled out, or I was left out in a lot of situations. In school, I was in a special school as well, so it was more of a behavioural school. It's like where all the naughty boys used to go, and all the disenfranchised people with broken homes and all these sort of socio-economic problems going on. I was in that school, but mine was more neurological based. I won't go into detail what that was, but yeah, I enjoyed quite a lot of bullying because I was impaired, but I was also clever in the classroom, so I was seen as a bit of a target. I also didn't know when to shut up. Well, I also didn't fit in because I thought I was better than some people because I was a bit clever, so I kind of made myself a target in that respect. But again, there were times where it was taken too far and I was left to fend for myself, and that's another thing as well. I've not been a good friend either. He's not really acknowledged. I've been a shit friend and you've not kept in touch with people because you've not let go of these problems that happen to you. You're always going to encounter shit people, no matter what. And I think you will encounter more shitty people than most will, because you've had that exposure from a young age of shit behaviour, because you were low on the pecking order. I do believe in natural selection, and I do believe that there is social hierarchy. It's just the human nature. It's always been like that. Shit, hang on. I think I'm on some quicksand. It's a bit patchy. It is human nature. It's gone back throughout history, even though they had it in Roman society, they had it in Greek society. There's always been social hierarchy. And I was always on the low end. So I think I've experienced the shittier side of people, and I've always kind of like projected it as into like, oh, there's nothing wrong. So there were multiple occasions where I made a fool of myself, and I wasn't acknowledging that I'm not okay. I don't like this, or I don't like how you treat me. I didn't really stand up for myself. I didn't really take a stand on something. I was a bit of a boy for quite a long time. I mean, so I've got a mixed bag on a lot of things, and I think you're still very confused. You were living in survival mode for such a long time, and now you're starting to acknowledge that you weren't treated right in a lot of capacities, and people did take advantage of my good nature. Again, going back to what I said, I wasn't a good person to people. It was again, I think my niceness was survivalism, being a nice guy. I wasn't really a good man, which is what I'm trying to be now. They do talk about it a lot on the internet, you know, that the difference between nice men and nice boys and good men. And I think I was that for a while, and there were numerous times where my masculinity was tested. Women tried to belittle me, or they would get off with other men in front of me, and you know, get their fucking boy mates to fucking turn on me and shit like that. I look back at it now and think, what the fuck was I doing? You know? Why didn't I just deal with it and just step away? You know? But retrospect is a very cruel invention, isn't it? Yeah, I think it all snowballed for quite a long time. But I kind of managed to keep my head above the water just about with this education, because if I didn't have this education, I'd probably think to myself, what's the point? My specialty is in human physiology. I didn't do great in science though in school, and I did take advantage of AI on a couple of occasions, but you know, nothing that people aren't doing now, you know. I think my big problem right now is compartmentalisation is going to come to a point, and it's all going to spill over. And I think one of the driving factors is that I don't really have a purpose right now. The reason why I'm at Omaha Beach is I come from not a family steeped in military history, but there is some military history in my family, going back a couple of 100 years. And it was always something that I wanted to do. I always wanted to be a soldier. But because of my hearing, not so much my neurology, because I did actually try to get in, but I failed the medical exam. And there was always something I was set on doing. I wanted to be an officer. This is one of the reasons I kind of went to university, was to go into the military and, you know, be a leader of men. But it just didn't work out, you know. And I need to find myself a new purpose now. But I've never really fitted in anywhere. I didn't fit in with rugby. I didn't fit in with music. I didn't really fit in with a couple of friendship groups a couple of jobs. I just never found my tribe, you know. So I think the things that I want for me personally is legacy. I want to be an example to whoever sees this, whoever finds it, or if I'm dead by that point, if I have an accident or fucking some sort of health and safety accident. I don't know. You don't know. You're never guaranteed tomorrow, are you? So if whoever finds this, or if you manage to see this in 10 years or so. I hope that you find your tribe. I hope you find the woman that you treat right. And a woman that is your best friend as well. I hope you build a home for yourself. I hope you treat your family right and nurture them. And you create a family and make sure that they're all catered for. I hope that you find some peace with the tribulations that you endured. Fucking arms are killing me. This trip should be a crossroad of what you want to do now. These 3 weeks that you spent has been to reflect, to enjoy, and bask in your achievement of attaining a master's. But the story's only just started, and you need to know where to go now. You need to be honest with yourself if this is what you really want. People always say that what their sons are, what their daughters are, but they never talk about how they feel. Oh, my son's a doctor. Oh, my son's a scientist. Oh, my son's in the military. Or, oh, my daughter's a nurse, or whatever else. No one asks anymore if the children are happy. I'm fortunate enough to not have that with my family, on the whole. I think one of the things that's missing, especially in my generation, is achieving true happiness and achieving true peace. Because when it comes to accolades, no one's going to give a fuck when you're in your 70s and 80s about what you did when you were younger, or how much fucking money you had, or how many cars you had and shit like that. It's going to be about people. As that's one of the things that I've learned in getting older. Think about the sacrifices my grandparents made, you know, in regard to the Second World War, and not just that, you know, getting up, going to work every day. My grandmother putting her makeup on despite the shit she had to endure at home, but she kept it. She tried to keep it nice for her children, my mum, my uncle, my auntie. And she had a fantastic circle. She was a matriarch, my grandmother. And because that's what she built, that was all of her. And she died nearly a year ago now. It's probably another reason why I took time away for this trip, because I had this small window to capitalise on you know, just having a good time, you know. Because if I don't do it now, when am I ever going to do it? Just seeing some of Europe and, you know, just take a time out for myself, you know. And being on this beach, I've had some sort of dropped my phone. I've had some sort of like self-actualisation of my problems aren't that big in comparison to what some of the men had to endure on this fucking beach. This is just one of them. 3,000 men died on this beach. 3,000 fucking men. And they fought for my freedom. And it's cheesy to say because I'm going back to the UK tomorrow. But it's my way of saying thank you after these 3 weeks. It's a way to round up the trip to say thank you. And I hope the life that I lead and the life that I will live for me, my future children, my future wife, my future grandchildren will be enough for what they gave. My father died of cancer about 4 years ago as well, and I have thought about him today. And even though I disappointed him on these 2 occasions, I hope the life that I lead will be enough for him to say, I'm proud of you, mate, you know? I just need to let go and acknowledge that shit things happen in life, and you've endured the hard years, but now I have to build from it, and now I have to move forward and let go. And be at one with myself and be at peace with myself. Because if I don't fucking put a lid on this, I'm in for a world of shit. My children and my wife, I'm not going to be around that. So, yeah. I just need to let go. So yeah. 10 years from now, I hope you will have achieved true happiness. I hope you achieve true peace. I hope that things work out for you and your life is filled with people and not just accolades. You find your tribe. You live your life to the fullest. Never out the fight.